Guys, please do subscribe to our channel and support us. You know that person. The one who always says, "I'll come next time." The one who cancels plans last minute. Who disappears from group chats. Who somehow is always tired. At some point, you probably thought, are they just avoiding me? But what if they're not avoiding you at all? What if they're protecting something you can't see? Because here's a truth we don't talk about enough. Not everyone feels alive out there. For some people, the loud music, the crowded rooms, the constant conversations, it's not exciting. It's exhausting. And if you've ever felt that way, then this video might explain something about you that you've never quite been able to put into words. Because today, we're talking about the psychology of people who genuinely love staying at home. Not because they have to, but because they want to. And no, it's not laziness. It's something much deeper. Let's start with something simple, but powerful. Energy. Think of your energy like a battery. Some people charge it by going out, being around others, laughing, talking, moving. But for others, every interaction drains it. Even the good ones, even the fun ones. You can have an amazing night out and still come home feeling completely wiped. That's not negativity. That's wiring. Some people are built for stimulation. Others are built for stillness. And for those who prefer staying home, home isn't boring. It's where their energy comes back. Now here's where it gets interesting. It's not just about being introverted. It's also about control. Out in the world, things are unpredictable. Plans change. People interrupt. Conversations go nowhere. You're constantly adjusting, constantly reacting. But at home, everything slows down. You control the environment, the noise, the lighting, the pace. You choose what you engage with and when. And for many people, especially those who feel overwhelmed easily, that sense of control isn't just comforting. It's necessary. It's the difference between feeling calm and feeling overloaded. Now let's talk about something that might surprise you. People who enjoy staying home are often deep thinkers, creative, highly aware of their inner world. Because when you remove constant noise, something else gets louder. Your thoughts, your ideas, your reflections. And while that might sound uncomfortable to some people, for others, that's where everything meaningful happens. Late-night thoughts, quiet realizations, moments where you actually understand yourself. You don't get that in a crowded room. You get that in silence. And that's why staying home doesn't feel empty to them. It feels full. Full of thoughts, full of imagination, full of peace. But here's where society gets it wrong. We've been taught that being out there equals happiness. That if you're not constantly social, constantly busy, constantly doing something, you're missing out. But what if that's not true? What if your version of a perfect night isn't loud? What if it's quiet? A comfortable space. Your favorite show playing in the background. Maybe a warm drink. No pressure. No expectations. Just ease. That's not boring. That's self-awareness. That's knowing what actually makes you feel good and choosing it. But now we need to talk about something important. Because not everyone stays home for the same reason. For some people, home is peace. For others, home is protection. And there's a difference. If staying home makes you feel recharged, calm, and content, that's healthy. But if staying home feels like the only place you're safe, if leaving feels heavy, overwhelming, or even scary, then something deeper might be going on. And it's important to recognize that. Because there's a line between choosing solitude and feeling trapped in it. Because here's the question that changes everything. Are you staying home because it feels good? Or because the outside world feels like too much? That difference matters more than most people realize. Because when it's a choice, staying home becomes a form of self-respect. But when it's not, it can quietly turn into isolation. And isolation, over time, can start to shrink your world. So if you're someone who prefers staying in, it's worth asking yourself, do I feel peaceful here? Or do I just feel safe from everything else? Now for those who truly love staying home, there's something beautiful about the way they experience life. They notice things other people rush past. The way sunlight moves across the room in the afternoon. The comfort of a routine that feels like yours. the quiet satisfaction of doing something alone and actually enjoying it. They don't need constant stimulation to feel alive. They don't need a crowd to feel validated. Because their inner world, it's already rich. And that's something a lot of people don't understand. Because we live in a culture that celebrates noise. Being busy, being social, being visible. But there's a quiet strength in people who don't need any of that. People who can sit with themselves without distraction. People who don't run from silence. Because silence to them isn't empty. It's clarity. Now here's something that might hit a little deeper. If you're someone who prefers staying home, you've probably been misunderstood at some point. Maybe someone called you boring, or antisocial, or said, you need to get out more, and maybe part of you wondered if they were right. But here's the truth. You don't have to live loudly to live fully. You don't have to be everywhere to experience everything. And you don't have to match someone else's version of happiness to have your own. Because happiness isn't one size fits all. For some people, it's a crowded room full of energy. For others, it's a quiet night where nothing is expected of you. And both are valid. But let's not ignore this part either. Even people who love being alone still need connection. Just in smaller doses. More meaningful conversations. Fewer but deeper relationships. Moments that feel real, not forced. Because it's not about avoiding people. It's about choosing the right ones. And choosing when. Now imagine this for a second. A weekend with no plans. No obligations. No pressure to go out. No expectation to be on. For some people, that sounds boring. But for others, that sounds like freedom. Time to think. Time to breathe. Time to just exist without performing. And maybe that's what this is really about. Not avoiding life, but refusing to perform it. Because in a world where everyone is constantly showing, posting, proving, choosing to stay home can be a quiet rebellion. A way of saying, I don't need to be seen to feel whole. And that's powerful. Now let's bring this all together. If you're someone who cancels plans sometimes, who prefers a solo night over a crowded one, who feels genuinely happy in your own space, you're not broken. You're not missing out. You're just wired differently. You value depth over noise, peace over pressure, meaning over movement. And there's nothing wrong with that. But just remember, balance matters. Even the most peaceful solitude should still leave room for connection. Because the goal isn't to hide from the world. It's to engage with it in a way that feels right for you. The next time someone asks why you like staying home so much, you don't have to explain. You don't have to justify it. Just smile. Because you understand something they might not yet. That peace isn't something you find out there. Sometimes, it's something you build within your own four walls. If this video made you feel understood, even for a moment, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And tell me in the comments, do you genuinely enjoy staying home? Or do you feel like you're hiding from something? Let's talk about it. Thanks for watching.